Greetings, this is Mr. Cuevas coming to you live thanks to the power of the internet once again. We are continuing our study of the Mansa Musa mini-Q, and I'm going to be discussing document D with you. So again, the first time that you're encountering some source, any source that I give you or any source that anyone gives you in your entire lifetime, always ask what is the source of that document and try to determine, is that source credible? Does it have any biases behind it? This is important information when you're trying to judge the credibility of that source. So let's look at this source here. It says verses from the Quran, the Muslim holy book. The Quran, again, when remembering back to when we studied Islam, is like the Muslims' version of the Bible. Translated by N.J. Dawood. And here's a note. Although Mansa Musa was a Muslim, he did not require his citizens to be Muslims. Most historians believe this was because many people in the empire, referring to the Empire of Mali, still practiced traditional African religions. Islam was the religion of traders and the court. When they say court, they mean people of nobility or part of the elite. Many of the slaves and soldiers of the trip were likely not Muslims and would not have made the final trek from the city of Cairo in Egypt to Mecca. For Mansa Musa, however, the verses below would have had great meaning. Okay, so we're going to jump into these verses in a second. I just wanted to make sure that I go over some background information with you. This journal entry that you're going to be writing is going to be taking place in the city of Tuwat, and or region of Tuwat, I should say, and it's in modern day Algeria, and it's in between Cairo and our last stop of Tagaza, and it's definitely a stop that Mansa Musa would have made along his way. It contained a few oases, so water, that were crucial to the old caravan trade route. So Mansa Musa would have definitely have gone to this region. I want to give you some more information just to kind of refresh your memory. Muslims view the Quran as having been revealed to Muhammad. If you remember our study of Islam, Muhammad was the founder of Islam. They really do believe the Quran as being revealed to Muhammad by God, and they view Arabic as the sacred language that is part of that revelation. Therefore, they believe that the Quran is untranslatable and should be studied in Arabic. Well, despite this, many Muslims today do not speak Arabic. The Quran has been translated into nearly every language, and many English versions exist. A number of factors must be considered when, myself and this publisher were trying to choose which version, English version, do you choose. Well, many date back, as far as early as the 20th century, and some go way back into the Arabic language. Like, which version of the Quran do you choose? Some might disagree with N.J. Dawood's translation. They may not consider it to be 100% accurate, but it's the easiest for you guys to understand, and it gets the points across as to what portions of the religion are driving Mansa Musa on his drive, and how it's affecting his decisions and what he's doing on his Hajj. So this is the reason why we've chosen this one. Let's see here. What else would I want to mention? The translation uses the term God instead of Allah. If you remember when we studied Islam earlier in the year, way back in the first or second quarter, just to remind you that that's the Islamic word for God, basically. I just want to clear up any potential confusion about that. The Arabic word for God is Allah. So Islam is, just to remind you, a monotheistic religion. That means that they believe in only one God. Muslims use the name Allah to refer to the same all-powerful God that Christians or Jews or people that follow Judaism do when they worship. However, Muslims believe that Muhammad did receive this information from God later on afterwards, right? So they consider it to be the last truth, I guess you can say, or the more recent truth, I should say. Now, let's see. I need to let you guys know that the Quran is divided into basically chapters and verses. So the chapters are called surahs, and the numbers following each verse gives you the surah and the verse number. So as we go through this, you'll see that that's what those numbers are referring to. The Hajj, or pilgrimage to Mecca, is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. These pillars are essential responsibilities that a devout practicing Muslim must attempt to do. The pillars of the Hajj state that a Muslim must travel to Mecca at the appointed time at least once in his lifetime, and take part in the rituals that occur each year, basically at the birthplace of Muhammad. If you cannot go, say physically you cannot go, then you're expected to send what you can as support. But if you are physically able to go and you have the money and resources to do so, you're expected to go. It's kind of responsibility that you have to do as a practicing Muslim. Another pillar of Islam, of the 5, is almsgiving. Alms is a way of saying kind of donating or giving to charity. So Muslims, this pillar basically states that Muslims must give donations, money, or perhaps food and other resources to those who are less fortunate. All pillars, but especially this one, encourage compassion and civic responsibility within the Muslim community. So taking all this in, just understand that we chose this version of the Quran because it's easy for you to understand. Understand that this Hajj is a religious journey that Musa must make as a worshiping Muslim, and understand that alms is referring to, the giving of donations. Alright, so with that said, let's jump into these verses. Give generously for the cause of God, and do not with your own hand cast yourself into destruction. Be charitable. God loves the charitable. So basically, if I had to break this down in my own words, it's just, the Quran is encouraging Muslims to be charitable, that God favors this, and he obviously doesn't favor it and might punish you, because it says basically do not with your own hand cast yourselves into destruction, meaning referring to God might punish you if you're not charitable, right? All right, so let's read the next paragraph here. Make the pilgrimage, or again the Hajj, the religious journey, a visit visit the sacred house for his sake. So you're doing this for God, right? That's what Musa is believing. That's why he's doing this as a practicing Muslim. If you cannot, send each offering as you can afford, and do not shave your head until the offerings have reached their destination. Basically signifying that you're devoted still, even though you cannot make it. You're sending your offerings, and you're not shaving your head, right? You're not getting a haircut. All right, so next paragraph. Make the pilgrimage in the appointed months. So whenever the festivals are scheduled to take place throughout the year, that's when you should go. He that intends to perform it in those months must abstain means you must not take part in, don't do these following things. So you must abstain from obscene language, so cursing, using bad language, and acrimonious disputes on a pilgrimage. That means you're not getting into petty fights over small things. God is aware of whatever you do, or whatever good you do. Provide well for yourself. The best provision is piety, which means your devotion to your faith. Fear me, then you that are endowed with this understanding, or with this understanding. So basically it's saying, when you're going during these appointed months onto the Hajj, be your best behavior. Don't cuss. Be agreeable. Do good, because God sees you, basically, right? And that's what that paragraph breaks it down to. All right, so next paragraph. To be charitable in public is good, but to give alms, again, alms are those donations, right? Gifts of charity to the poor in private is better, and will atone for some of your sins. Meaning this is a way for people to make up wrongs that they've done. God has knowledge of all your actions. So it seems to me that this verse is saying, don't be boastful. Don't do it because you want the attention of giving. Do these things because, it's the right thing to do, I guess you can say, in private matter. That, don't worry about who's watching you. God's going to see, is basically, if I had to put this quote or this verse into my own words. So let's look at the next one. Those that give alms by night and by day in private and in public shall be rewarded by their Lord. They shall have nothing to fear or to regret. So basically it's saying, listen, give, whether you give in public or you give in private, you know, you're gonna have nothing to fear. God's gonna love you for it. Okay. So yeah, hopefully what this does is it breaks down, and because remember, Mansa Musa, right? He's the leader of this empire. He's the wealthiest person that ever lived when you adjust for inflation. You know, what's driving his motive to go on this Hajj? I mean, this would answer the religious component of it. I'm sure there's other components, but this will definitely tell you that he's concerned about being a devout Muslim, that he wants to meet the Hajj pillar of the 5 pillars of Islam. He wants to meet the almsgiving of the 5 pillars of Islam pillar. You know, these are what's motivating him. Alright, so use that information that I've given you to answer the following questions listed here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Don't forget to, when you're done with that, go over the and write out your journal entry. I highly encourage you to read your journal entry, pick out 3 facts from the document, and really include those into the story that you're writing. Remember that the setting, it's Tuat Oasis, it's in the month of April, so you've been traveling for a while, it's 1324, and it's the evening time, so include that into your narrative, which you're weaving together using those 3 facts that you pulled out. And I'll go ahead and read it to you. You have traveled more than 1,500 miles at this point. You're a character, right? Today, as you journeyed, you overheard several programs discussing what the Quran teaches about the duties that Muslims must perform. So maybe you can talk about what you overheard them saying, right? You sit down to record your experience and thoughts about the Hajj so far. You basically, you know, how do you think this journey relates to the teaching of Islam? Be sure to include references from the document to support your writing. So that's what you're really doing. Good luck. I wish you the best. If you have any questions, let me know. Stay safe, stay strong, and don't forget to be awesome. See you guys later. Bye.